Hey everyone, welcome to Roleplay Cafe. It's Dale here. This is going to be a recap, potential reflection, a little bit on the Coriolis um, session that John's been running for us. As you know, a one shot often lends itself to 3 or 4 sessions. So we've had 2 sessions uh, of the one shot so far. Not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before it and the one before it, as we've taken a little bit of a hiatus from Joth to insert this on our Wednesday night. Um, Myself, Todd, David, and Eric are the participants, and then John's running us, like I said. Um, he provided some pre-gens, and we jumped at basically the professions that we wanted, and then commandeered those and filled out the personalities of these individuals as we played. Now, Eric unfortunately wasn't able to join us on the second session, but hopefully he'll pick up on the third, as he is our leader. Okay, it's been a couple of weeks. My recording OBS has been down somewhat, so I haven't been able to record sufficiently. Probably note that beforehand I had it kept stopping, and the Joth last couple of Joth sessions have been like piecemeal posted, 15-minute intervals basically. So it's been a little bit. Hopefully this rectified, and the next session will be unimpeded as we pick up in Coriolis. But going from memory, okay, we're part of the Explorers Guild, and Coriolis it seems to be a game of mining and delving onto planetoids and maybe asteroids and whatnot, right? So a lot of it, less time I think, is spent in travel as opposed to planet side. Now, we leave out on a job with Jeremy, which is Eric's character. Jeremy's few is what we're called. There are a few of us, 3 more, right? My character is a vacuum welder, vacuum being space, right? I can't exactly recall this moment what Todd and David's character do. You know, there's, I think, Delver is what Jeremy is. He leads us down, but I know David has a bit of a canary in the coal mine situation where he has a bird that picks up on blight, which is implemented in this game too, as in other Free League games. And the deeper you delve, in this instance, in this scenario, the more you may incur blight. So that's always an ever-present thing that you have to contend with. Is you know, as you proceed further into the bowels of this planetoid, this moon that we headed out to, which is Mubara, is a large gas giant outside of its parameter is a satellite, which is the moon that we're heading to. And there had been an accident, and we were sent to, I think, potentially a relic that we had been sent out to kind of ascertain what was going on by the Explorers Guild, right? Because they had a little bit of a mishap planet side. We get there, land. I remember when we landed, there was a dust storm, and one of the miners drink, came up in a vehicle and picked us up and took us to the main installation. Mining installation on the planet. Had some discussion with him. Parked it outside, maybe in the hangar bay, are, where they keep the utility vehicles and mining vehicles and whatnot to get to the destination. I had a little conversation with him, kind of got an update on who was the facilities overseer as well as what had previously gone on, a little hints of what had gone on. Like they had delved into an area, I think it's Gillian's Point is where it occurred. Some things like that. There was one survivor, he was in the med bay. We picked that up. We landed as an AP if it was available. There was a map that we had of the facility that we kind of used to navigate our way through after we got there, and we decided to go see. After bunking up and whatnot, we decided to see the overseer, and she was helpful to a certain extent. Said all of available resources and bet us to go deeper in, and that's what we were called in to do, was try to rectify what actually happened down there. The survivor found negative as a canary coal mine, and they pulled him up, and he was catatonic and was talking about it was beautiful and whatnot, and he had taken off his protective equipment, right? So obviously he's blight infested to some extent. Well, we believe at this point in time, and they were having they're on the cusp of a 72-hour kind of nightfall on the moon, as it's not tidally locked so much as it is just spinning on its own. It must be oblong in some way, shape, or form, as it was about to go to, this colony was about to hit the dark side and then turn into, right? So we talked to her, and I believe there was an invite to go to dinner, rations, maybe a celebratory thing where they have it every so often, or maybe it's a nightly thing. I can't exactly recall, but there was several individuals there, and that was a point of where we could go and see and conduct ourselves in certain ways. Now, I think right before we did that, though, we went into the medical bay to see the survivor. Todd's character, which is Charmia, I believe, did something. The character was totally out of it at that point, but gave that survivor stimulus, which kind of woke him up out of stupor, and he just answered some questions, but it was in the same vein of what was already been told to us, which verified what had happened. Like, got down so far, and was beautiful what they had witnessed. They didn't need their suit, wanted to go back. It was that kind of thing. So it was obviously a traumatic experience to take the survivor away from where he wanted to go. So mental thing. Anyway, the character removed the stimulus. He goes back into catatonic state of coma. We went to the dinner, which we'd seen this high-end vessel land to, this spacecraft, right before that. But we see the occupant of that spacecraft inside at the dinner, right? And he's this masked individual, like a little bit of a Rorschach blot on the front of the mask. But my character is Coriolis, and from a noble house, though I think a fallen noble house, but nevertheless, my character wanted to break away because it was interested more so in demolitions, follow a passion, and kind of just out of that passion broke away from the household responsibilities of carrying nobility. So I was doing what my passions prompted me to do, which led me to this inn and joining Jeremy's few. But I noticed the Coriolis, so I go over there to strike up a conversation. I noticed the markings on the face was that. So I kind of peel back, my character does, and tap into the little bit of noble houses, because I felt like I was approaching someone who was a little bit of aristocratic from that area, especially from the monetary value, putting two and two together with what he descended onto the planet, onto the moon in the spaceship he was in, as well as his attire, and spoke with him accordingly. Introducing myself, bowing low, make some comments about the mask and fluent and whatever like that, and what was they there for, and have they heard. So in other words, my character was trying to bid a little bit of, dig a little bit for the information, and there seemed to be a lot of attention attracted to this supposed artifact or whatever that may be down there that was going on. So there was a lot of traffic in that area, I thought. So I speak with him, and that is indeed what occurred. There was an admittance that was there because of this alien artifact, which, if you find one, I believe you're supposed to just report it and leave. We was going to reclaim it for the suspected artifact for the Explorers Guild, but this individual, and I can't remember the name of the individual right off, but he was offering me if we could attain this item, as we had clearance to go in there and delve and try to get it from the facility's head of the place here, and she had bequeathed us all the ready and necessary equipment to do that, to get down there and delve. He's going covertly. If you shift it away from her hands when you bring it back and give it to me, I can give you 4 times more than what you'd be making with the Explorers Guild. So I turned on my heel and started walking away. I remember she approached me. The facility head was there. She saw and glanced that I had been speaking with him, came up. My character tried to make it as if it was just a core, like, saw someone from my home planet, my stomping grounds, right? So I didn't want to flinch and give the facility operator any kind of indication that we were up to no good, or trying to undermine, no pun intended, her efforts to reclaim this artifact for the Explorers Guild. But she takes me aback, because I had been my character been kind of masking a smile from this very lucrative offer of 4 times the amount, right? So I was trying to get to my colleagues to be able to discuss this, and I didn't discuss it immediately, but she had stopped me there, and in promises of whatever he said she would give, the Explorers Guild would give twice as much. So this, to me, put us into, it wasn't a threat that if we didn't do that, we'd be reported, but it was actually an ante up. So fortunately, I believe, stumbled us into a situation where we could, inside a bidding war, though covert, not, a subtly subversive bidding war, and I didn't say anything immediately, but I got with and this is overall a summarization of 2 sessions. Okay, so when I got back to the group, and while I was walking over there, one of the group had noticed that something was not quite right with the food. Now, this food had been tainted. We brought some rations, I believe, along with us initially, to which later I suggested we stick to the rations, and skirt past any offers to dine with the locals here, planetside, in the dining area, because the food was contaminated. A lot of the player characters were spitting out the food or letting it go or removing it, and the dumplings, myself, was doing the same thing. So that took my character's mind away from necessarily explaining it to my colleagues immediately of what I had stumbled into. Right? But we left there, and next session we gathered up to where we was trying to gather resources to delve, rope, supplies. We had gotten a little bit more information, and I had already had a map to to the hole at Gillian's Point, to where we would delve into what the platforms and at the levels of depth and what had been scanned through assumably some kind of a radar detection, echolocation that that illustrated that there was a large area that was kind of domed out, hollowed out, and this is probably where the survivor had seen this city. He portended to be so magnificent, and he was stripping down and just wanted to get there, right? But we set about trying to find to the location. We did stop and see Drake again. I believe even at dinner, I saw him right before I went over to speak with Coraline to get a little bit of information about where we would get supplies and whatnot to do this, and what he may know a little bit further. So kind of tidying up with him conversationally, which that helped inform us in the direction we needed to go. Which we ended up going to the hangar bay. Hangar bay was looking for equipment and ropes, something to descend to that level, using the free pass that we had from the facility operator manager, that she would allow us to have what we needed to go down. Why? But it was a little bit hard trying to find rope and appropriate, delving equipment. We already had some that we brought down, like I had a winch, my character did, and of course David's character had the bird. David's character was Yan, I think. Mine is Messama. Was my character's name, is female. But we did secure what we believed was enough rope. My character points out that since he was obviously stripping down as he went down, maybe the ones that hadn't survived still had gear down there at different points along the descent, so we could utilize that too if we needed to, as far as like to procure more lengths of rope. And in my mind, that might be why some of the gear was a little bit hard to track down and find topside. So in the hangar bay, there was a little speech with, I believe, one person, because Eric didn't make it, had commandeered Jeremy to go, I believe, and speak with the hangar bay overseer. Yeah, but he was pretty much just passed out at his station, right? So he had woke him up, kept him busy, talked to him or whatever, while we were down looking amongst and trying to get into different vehicles, breaking and entering under the guys that we had the right to, to get some rope or whatever. We did finally get information about, or I think remember information. I got it recently from Drake, who had first met us planetside, that of what the number of the vehicle that we were allowed to use. And it was, when we located it, it was a broken down Hulk. It's like, made a joke about, she said, you can have all of our resources, available resources, like was going to set us up, but it was all just talk, no show, as we had to contend with that piece of crap getting us to where we needed to go. But we loaded up. The next cycle, I believe we stepped a little bit, but so we was already in that 72-hour cycle of being on the dark side. So I believe we had to get lighting equipment and whatnot, and headed out to that point of Gillian's Point. Thought initially that'd be able to tie up and lower down from the vehicle that we had. I don't think we did that. That we just latched on and went down one by one to the first area. Had to roll as we got more into the blighted area to see if blight was affecting us. It did to some extent. I can't remember who. I think it might have affected German, but Eric wasn't there to to play his character. But we were, we were utilizing him all the same. Uh, it didn't end up being to his detriment. So Eric still has a character to go back into, slip back into when we get into the third session. But we went down about halfway. There's segments on the graph where you go like 2 levels deep. I think we're at the second level. Uh, Before I don't believe anything. There was something that occurred at the end there that I'm drawing a humongous blank on. Uh, there was something we had an encounter to some extent to where, uh, and I think it might have had to do something with the blight. It may had to do something with one of the fallen uh, survivors that didn't make it. But I can't, for the life of me, I can't draw it back to memory right now. But it did leave us somewhat compromised to a certain degree. More specifically with the blight, I remember being something pulled and tugged, I think, off from the area that we were at. I just remember being kind of flung forward from our position and trying to restrain where we are. And I can't remember if it was some kind of creature, dark or otherwise. Maybe it was so horrific I'm blocking it out, but it has been a couple of weeks. But that something did occur there in the darkness, the bowels of that cavern as we're descending. And after that, that's where we had decided, what do we need to do? We know we're going deeper into this area. Our rations, our resources, the amount of blight we can take is, in other words, it doesn't look like our current level of resources and equipment would facilitate us going all the way down and then all the way back up. That it was a moment of contention amongst the group as far as like, should we leave or should we go further? What's going to happen? And this where I relayed, if nothing more than myself, that maybe potentially we could access some of the falling gear that the others had as we go along, and maybe that would complement it. But there's still a high degree of potential for mortality for the group here. So yeah, it's a dangerous delve, and we're just playing it by ear. Now we will pick up, I believe, if not this coming Wednesday, the Wednesday after. I don't think the guys have come up with what they want to do exactly this coming Wednesday, but it's been something, and I can see the danger levels there. It definitely has a bit of an old school vibe that dungeon is there that we need to penetrate and get the resources. But it's not only mindful of. It's a double-bladed, double-edged knife. If you don't get off by any creatures that you may stumble upon or awaken, or the lack of resources, not being able to get back, you're still having to deal with that pesky blight that is affecting you as you delve. So anyway, that's it. Sorry I couldn't be more specific and draw it from my memory. And sorry so late on the recap, but enjoyable, and we're going to get back to it and finish it up, and hopefully the next AP will be up there in spades in all its glory. Other than that, y'all take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.